hidden beneath the stars. The endless void of space stretched before Captain Evren Zahara as she stood on the observation deck of the EDS Titan, her hand resting lightly on the cool metal railing. Below her, Earth rotated in serene blue splendor, oblivious to the storm brewing in the stars above. She watched as a sleek, silver vessel, unmistakably alien in design, gracefully descended toward the United Nations headquarters in Geneva. The Galactic Council had arrived. Magnificent, isn't it? The voice belonged to Admiral Chen Wei, who moved to stand beside her. They think they're making first contact with a primitive species barely able to reach their own moon. Evren's lips curved into a slight smile. Little do they know. 3 weeks earlier, humanity had detected the approaching alien vessels. Rather than panic, the world's leaders had convened in secret and made a decision that would alter the course of human history. They would pretend to be less advanced than they actually were. For decades, Earth had been developing technologies far beyond what the public knew. Quantum drives capable of faster-than-light travel, energy shields that could withstand meteor impacts, weapons that could disintegrate matter at the atomic level, all hidden in underground facilities and secret bases on the far side of the moon, beneath the ocean floor, and nestled within hollowed-out mountains. Now, as the Galactic Council's diplomatic vessel touched down in Geneva, Operation Sleeping Giant was in full effect. High Ambassador Xorix of the Galactic Council adjusted his atmospheric regulator as he stepped onto Earth soil for the first time. His 4 eyes blinked in succession, adapting to the planet's natural light. Behind him, a delegation of representatives from 12 different species followed, each marveling at this new world. "Primitive but charming," whispered Miral, a Vestian diplomat with translucent skin that revealed the outline of her triple hearts. "Their atmosphere is quite rich in oxygen." Xorix nodded. A young species, barely a century into their space age. The Council believes they will make excellent prodigies. The delegation was met by Earth's representatives, politicians, scientists, and military personnel, all carefully selected and briefed to play their part in humanity's grand deception. Among them stood General Sofia Rivera, who extended her hand in what the aliens had informed them was the proper diplomatic gesture. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador Xorix. We are honored by your presence." The alien took her hand awkwardly. "The honor is ours, General Rivera. The Galactic Council welcomes Earth into the community of stars. We have much to teach you." Sophia smiled warmly, hiding the steel beneath, "and we have much to learn." Over the next 6 months, the deception continued flawlessly. Earth signed the Treaty of Galactic Inclusion, officially becoming a protectorate of the Council. Alien advisors were stationed in major cities, offering limited technological assistance and cultural exchange. The Council established an orbital station above Earth as a permanent embassy and observation post. Meanwhile, humanity played its role perfectly. They expressed awe at technologies they had secretly mastered decades ago, asked questions to which they already knew the answers, and accepted the Council's condescension with humble gratitude. In the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, President Eleanor Reyes reviewed the latest intelligence reports. "The Council is planning to establish mining operations on Mars," she noted, scrolling through the digital display. "They've asked for our assistance, which means they'll use our labor while taking most of the resources." Secretary of Defense Marcus Quaim snorted. "Typical colonial behavior. They see us as the natives with spears greeting ships with cannons. How long can we maintain this charade?" asked Dr. Aisha Patel, head of the Global Science Directorate. "The Sentinel fleet is ready. Our deep space monitors have mapped most of Council space. We've learned enough about their technology to confirm that our systems are not only compatible, but in some cases superior." President Reyes leaned back in her chair, considering. The original plan was to wait a full year, but these mining operations could complicate things. If they establish a significant presence on Mars, it'll be harder to reveal ourselves without risking those personnel. "There's something else," General Rivera added, her expression grave. Our deep cover operatives on the Council station have reported increased scanning activity around the Pacific and Antarctic regions. They may have detected energy signatures from our underwater bases. A tense silence fell over the room. "How much time do we have?" the president finally asked. "Days, maybe a week before they discover something they shouldn't." President Reyes stood, her decision made. "Then we move up the timetable. Alert all commands. Operation Sleeping Giant enters its final phase in 72 hours. On the Council orbital station, Senior Observer Telek studied the anomalous readings with growing concern. His antennae twitched as he magnified the scan of Earth's southern ocean. "These energy signatures are inconsistent with their technological level," he muttered to himself, "and they're too regular to be natural phenomena. Perhaps their development is simply accelerating faster than anticipated," suggested his assistant, a young Prexian named Corey. "They are adaptable creatures." Telek shook his head. "No, there's something more here. These readings suggest power sources at least 50 years beyond their current capabilities." He initiated a deeper scan, redirecting the station's main sensor array toward the anomaly. As the data began streaming in, his compound eyes widened in alarm. "By the first light, alert Ambassador Xorix immediately." The humans have. Alarms suddenly blared throughout the station. On the main view screen, dozens of objects were rising from Earth's oceans, mountains, and deserts, massive vessels of clearly human design, their hulls gleaming with advanced materials unknown to Council science. The sleeping giant had awakened. Ambassador Xorix was in the midst of a condescending lecture on interstellar economics to a group of eager human students when his communicator chimed urgently. Before he could respond, the building's large display screens flickered to life, showing a broadcast being transmitted worldwide. President Eleanor Reyes appeared, seated calmly at her desk in the Oval Office. "People of Earth and honored representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice steady and commanding. "Today marks a new chapter in human history. For decades, we have hidden our true capabilities from the stars, developing in secret technologies that would ensure our independence when we finally encountered other intelligent life." The screen split to show massive ships emerging from hidden bases around the planet, rising into the atmosphere with impossible grace for their size. "The Galactic Council has treated us as children, offering limited knowledge while positioning themselves to exploit our resources and labor. Today, we reveal ourselves as equals. The Sentinel fleet stands ready to defend Earth from any aggression." Xorix felt his exoskeleton grow cold as he watched human warships establish a defensive perimeter around the planet. On another screen, smaller craft had surrounded the Council's orbital station, their weapons, far more advanced than should be possible, pointed but inactive. "We desire peaceful relations with the Galactic Council and all spacefaring civilizations," President Reyes continued. "But we will accept nothing less than full recognition as equals. The Treaty of Galactic Inclusion is hereby declared null and void. Earth is not a protectorate. We are a sovereign power." As the broadcast ended, Xorix found himself surrounded by human security personnel, their expressions polite but firm. "Ambassador," said a woman in a crisp uniform, "I've been instructed to escort you and your staff to a secure facility where you will remain comfortable while diplomatic channels are reestablished. Please come with me." In that moment, Xorix realized the humans had been playing a masterful game of deception, one that the Council, in its arrogance, had completely failed to detect. The implications sent shivers through his central nerve cluster. Captain Evren Zahara stood on the bridge of the EDS Titan as it assumed position in high Earth orbit. Around her, the crew worked with efficient precision, monitoring the reactions of the Council vessels in the solar system. "Status report," she commanded. "All Council ships have been contained," Captain reported her tactical officer. "Their weapons are powered down, and they're requesting instructions. The orbital station. Secured. No casualties on either side." Evren nodded with satisfaction. "And our diplomatic team?" They've established contact with the Council's central government. Initial responses are confused, but not immediately hostile. A small smile formed on Everin's lips. As expected, open a channel to Admiral Chen. The Admiral's face appeared on the main view screen, his expression reflecting the same controlled triumph that Everin felt. Phase 1 complete, sir. Earth is secure. Well done, Captain, Chen replied. Now comes the harder part. Convincing the galaxy that humanity deserves a seat at the table. As the Titan moved into formation with the rest of the revealed fleet, Everin gazed at the stars beyond. Humanity had just announced its presence to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible. The sleeping giant was awake, and the universe would never be the same. Forging a new alliance. The Grand Council chamber on Axiom Prime fell into chaos as the emergency session convened. Representatives from 1,000 worlds shouted over one another, their various appendages gesticulating wildly as holographic displays showed Earth's stunning revelation of military might. High Chancellor Zivax, a Medusan with silvery tendrils that served as both sensory organs and emotive indicators, raised her ceremonial staff. The resonating tone it emitted gradually silenced the chamber. "Order," she commanded, her tendrils rigid with stress. "We must approach this development with clarity and reason." From his seat in the diplomatic section, Ambassador Xorix, recently returned from Earth, watched the proceedings with a mixture of humiliation and fascination. The humans had treated him with perfect courtesy during his protective custody, but the experience had shaken his confidence. How had the Council so completely misjudged an entire species? Chancellor Zyvax continued. "The humans have demonstrated technology far beyond what we believe them capable of. More concerning, they have shown an ability to deceive that is unprecedented in our experience. They should be quarantined immediately," shouted the Draxian representative, his armored exoskeleton clicking with agitation. "Any species that can hide an entire fleet from our sensors is too dangerous to allow free movement in Council space." "I disagree," countered a Solarian, her luminescent form pulsing. "Their deception was born of prudence, not malice. Would any of us have acted differently if we were the less powerful party?" The debate raged for hours. Some Council members advocated for immediate military action, arguing that humanity's deception proved they could never be trusted. Others suggested a more measured approach, recommending renewed diplomatic efforts from a perspective of equality rather than patronization. Xorix finally rose to speak, and the chamber quieted. As the diplomat who had spent the most time among humans, his insights carried weight. "The mistake we made," he said carefully, "was allowing our preconceptions to blind us. We saw what we expected to see, a primitive species awed by our technology. We never questioned whether they might be concealing their capabilities." He paused. "Having observed them closely, I do not believe they desire conflict. They value their independence fiercely, yes, but they also seek connection and cooperation. They simply refuse to accept the subservient role we had planned for them." As Xorix resumed his seat, a new alert sounded. The central holographic display shifted to show a transmission request from Earth. President Eleanor Reyes stood before the assembled leadership of Earth, preparing for her address to the Galactic Council. The past week had been tense but controlled. No shots had been fired, though Earth's fleet remained on high alert. "They've accepted the transmission request," Madam President announced her communications director. "You'll live in 30 seconds. Eleanor nodded, straightening her jacket. This moment would define humanity's relationship with the galaxy for generations to come. The signal connected, and suddenly she was facing the vast council chamber on Axiom Prime. Thousands of alien faces focused on her image. "High Chancellor, esteemed representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, "I speak to you today on behalf of Earth and all humanity. Our revelation has, understandably, created concern and disruption. For this, I offer not an apology, but an explanation." She gestured, and behind her appeared images of Earth's history, conflicts, disasters, triumphs, and innovations. Humanity evolved in a challenging environment where caution meant survival. Our history is marked by encounters between civilizations of unequal power, where the less advanced were often subjugated or destroyed. When we detected your approach, we chose caution. We chose to observe before revealing our true capabilities. The chamber remained silent as she continued. What we witnessed confirmed our concerns. Despite your technological marvels and cultural diversity, the Council approached Earth not as potential equals, but as a resource to be managed and exploited. The Treaty of Galactic Inclusion would have placed Earth under your authority, while providing us with carefully controlled gifts of technology. Several Council members shifted uncomfortably at this frank assessment. Humanity rejects this model of relationship. We desire genuine partnership, open exchange of knowledge, and mutual respect. We have much to offer the galactic community, not just our technology, which in some areas exceeds your own, but our perspectives, our art, our unique approach to problem solving. She leaned forward slightly, her expression resolute. We stand ready to negotiate a new treaty, one between equals. Earth's fleet will maintain its defensive posture, but we have no aggressive intentions. The choice now lies with the Council. Will you embrace humanity as partners, or will you cling to an outdated hierarchical model that we will never accept? As her transmission ended, the Council chamber erupted once more into heated discussion. Deep in unexplored space, beyond the borders of both Council territory and Earth's secret monitoring network, something ancient stirred. A massive structure, dormant for millennia, detected the energy signatures of the confrontation between humanity and the Council. Automated systems activated, sensors recalibrated. Dormant power cores hummed to life. The harvesters were awakening. 3 weeks after Earth's revelation, a tentative equilibrium had been established. The Council had withdrawn its advisors from Earth, and negotiations for a new relationship were proceeding cautiously. Earth's fleet remained deployed, but had adopted a less aggressive posture. In orbit around Mars, the EDS Titan had taken up position near the newly established neutral meeting facility. Captain Evren Zahara adjusted her uniform before entering the conference room, where representatives from Earth and the Council were discussing scientific cooperation. Captain Zahara greeted Dr. Aisha Patel. Perfect timing. We were just discussing the anomalous readings from the outer rim. Evren nodded to the assembled delegates before focusing on the holographic display in the center of the table. It showed energy patterns that were unfamiliar to her. Several Council outposts near the Perseus arm have gone silent, explained Telix, who had transitioned from observer to scientific liaison. Before communication was lost, they transmitted these readings. They don't match any known natural phenomenon, added Dr. Patel, and they're expanding toward Council space at an alarming rate. Evren studied the patterns with growing concern. What about our long-range probes? Have they detected anything similar? Yes, Dr. Patel confirmed, adjusting the display to show additional data. Probe XR7 recorded these energy signatures 3 days ago before it went offline. Whatever this is, it's approaching from multiple vectors. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. We need to alert both Earth Command and the Council High Chancellor, Evren said finally. This could represent a threat to everyone. The emergency session of Earth's Security Council was tense as Admiral Chen presented the findings. The pattern is consistent with coordinated movement, he explained, highlighting various points on the star chart. Whatever these entities are, they're converging on both Council space and the solar system. Could it be a natural phenomenon? Asked President Reyes. Dr. Patel shook her head. The symmetry and precision suggest artificial origin, and the fact that both our probes and Council outposts are going silent indicates hostile intent. The Council is requesting a joint response, added Secretary Quaim. They've offered to share all relevant historical records and technological specifications for their defensive systems. President Reyes absorbed this information, her expression grave. After centuries of hiding their own advanced technology from less developed worlds, now they want full transparency from us. The irony isn't lost on them, Quain noted with a slight smile. But the threat appears genuine. This could be an opportunity to establish trust while facing a common enemy. The president turned to Admiral Chen. Your assessment? Chen's expression remained stoic. The tactical advantages of cooperation outweigh the risks. Whatever is coming, we'll stand a better chance together than divided. After a moment of consideration, President Reyes nodded. Initiate joint operations protocols with the Council, but maintain security protocols on our most advanced systems until we've verified the threat. The combined fleet assembled at the edge of Council space was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Council vessels of all configurations, from the massive dreadnoughts of the Draxians to the sleek, energy-based ships of the Solarians, formed up alongside Earth's Sentinel fleet. On the bridge of the EDS Titan, now serving as the Joint Command Center, Captain Evern Zahara coordinated with her Council counterpart, Commander Krell of the Arcturian Guard. Long-range sensors are detecting a massive energy surge, reported Evern's science officer. Multiple contacts approaching at sublight speed. Visual confirmation, added Krell, his 4 arms working different control interfaces simultaneously. Magnifying now. The main view screen adjusted to show their approaching adversary. Evern felt a chill run down her spine. The vessels, if they could be called that, were unlike any ship design she had ever encountered. They appeared almost organic, with undulating surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Their massive forms dwarfed even the largest vessels in the combined fleet. Energy readings suggest they're scanning us, Krell noted, his voice steady despite the tension. Open a communications channel, ordered Evern. All frequencies, all known protocols. For several tense minutes, they broadcast greetings and peaceful intentions. The approaching entities continued their advance, silent and implacable. No response, reported the communications officer. They're accelerating toward our position. Krell's upper arms manipulated a tactical display. Energy buildup detected in the lead vessels. They appear to be charging weapon systems. Evern and Krell exchanged glances. Despite their different physiologies, they shared a moment of perfect understanding. Battle stations, they commanded in unison. A conflict that followed would later be known as the First Harvester War. The mysterious entities, eventually identified as automated collection systems from a long-extinct civilization, sought to gather all technology and resources from inhabited worlds, caring nothing for the life forms that created them. The combined forces of Earth and the Council fought valiantly, suffering heavy losses, but gradually learning the Harvester's weaknesses. What began as a desperate defense evolved into a coordinated counterattack, utilizing the unique strengths of each species. Council engineers adapted their shield technologies to the frequencies used by Earth's quantum weapons, creating defensive systems the Harvesters couldn't penetrate. Human tactical innovations complemented the Council's greater experience in space warfare. 2 months into the conflict, at the Battle of Proxima Centauri, the tide finally turned. Earth's newest vessel, the EDS Prometheus, unveiled a weapon system that could disrupt the Harvester's neural network, causing them to attack each other in confusion. As the last Harvester ship retreated toward the galactic rim, pursued by a joint task force, the leaders of Earth and the Council met once more on neutral ground, this time as genuine allies. The Harvester threat has been contained, but not eliminated, explained Admiral Chen, addressing the combined leadership. We've established monitoring stations throughout the affected regions, and research teams are studying the captured technology. High Chancellor Zivax's tendrils moved in a gesture of acknowledgement. This crisis has demonstrated what we can achieve when we work together as equals. President Reyes nodded. Perhaps that is the silver lining to these dark clouds. It took an external threat to show us that our differences are less important than what we share. The old Treaty of Galactic Inclusion is clearly obsolete, continued Zivax. The Council proposes a new alliance, the Interstellar Cooperative. where all member worlds participate as full partners with proportional representation and shared responsibilities. Earth would be interested in such an arrangement, replied President Reyes, provided our sovereignty remains intact. As the discussion continued, shaping the framework for this new galactic order, Captain Evans O'Hara stood by a viewport, gazing out at the stars. Beside her was Commander Krell, their battlefield partnership having evolved into a respectful friendship. "Do you think it will last?" asked Krell, his voice low. This new spirit of cooperation. Evren considered the question carefully. "I think it has a chance. We've seen what happens when we let fear and arrogance guide our actions, and we've seen what we can accomplish together." "Your people deceived us," Krell noted, though there was no accusation in his tone. "And yours patronized us," Evren replied with a slight smile. "Perhaps we both needed to learn that lesson." They stood in comfortable silence, watching as Earth and Council ships maneuvered in joint exercises, preparing for whatever challenges the galaxy might present next. The sleeping giant had awakened, but rather than bringing destruction, it had helped forge something unexpected. A true partnership of equals among the stars. As ancient threats stirred and new horizons beckoned, humanity had found its place in the cosmic community, not through subjugation or isolation, but through the strength that comes from standing firm in one's principles while extending a hand in friendship. The galaxy would never be the same again.